What is up, you guys? Welcome to a new HBH podcast. This one is going to be super different, not talking about a specific movie, but I am talking about a franchise that I love and I've loved my whole life. And honestly, this podcast is going to hit home for me, man. I'm joined with Horrorman93 once again. You guys know he's been on the podcast series before for 2 episodes. We talked about End of Days and the worst of the horror genre. And now we're here talking about being a Halloween fan in the 2000s. Now, in the 2000s, I was a kid. So, I was still getting into Michael Myers and Halloween. But I have such a good, memory of that time period. So, Horrorman93, how you been doing, man?
I've been doing pretty good.
Nice, dude. All right. So, with that being said, let's talk about being a Halloween fan in the 2000s. You're a little older than me. You're like 20 years older than me or something. No, I'm just playing. But what was your experience with the Halloween franchise in the 2000s?
It was a great experience because I remember in the 2000s, I was probably like maybe 5 or 6 years already into being a Halloween fan.
That's crazy.
Say around 2005 or 2006, yes, I was like
Yeah.
7 years into it. And
Yeah.
I just remember I used to binge watch that whole Halloween franchise on VHS tapes.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't probably have them on DVD yet. I only watched them on tapes, but later on I got them on DVD. But I remember staying up late watching Halloween like over and over, like
Yeah, dude.
in a marathon, and it was really fun. And back then, Halloween, I would say it wasn't like the only way you could really watch it was on VHS unless you had a DVD player,
Oh, yeah, for
which a
sure.
lot of people in the early 2000s they couldn't afford DVD players because they were pretty expensive, but VHS way cheaper than DVDs.
Oh, yeah,
But
for
I
sure.
remember even in the 2000s, like I would say around 2003, 2004, when AMC used to have Monster Fest before it was FearFest, I used to watch the Halloween marathon on that in October of those years. And
Yeah.
those are really fun to watch. If you didn't have the tapes or the DVDs, that was really your only option to watch Halloween during that time of year. And I remember some of them was edited for TV though, so they cut out a lot of the gory graphic kills, but majority they wasn't cut out because it wasn't so graphic. I wouldn't say
Yeah.
Halloween is like known for its like gore until it got later on into the franchise, like especially like Halloween 6. Halloween
Yeah.
4 had some pretty gory kills as well, especially with that one kill with Earl in the truck. That was my
Oh, yeah.
favorite kill from Halloween 4.
Yeah,
But yeah,
dude.
Halloween also in the 2000s, there wasn't as much merchandise that you can get as today. I remember the only really thing I had was the tapes, and I remember having a poster of Michael Myers. That's the only thing that I remember. I didn't have any shirts. I didn't have anything else. It was just tapes and a poster.
The 2000s for me, when it comes to the franchise, man, was FearFest for sure, man. And I've said this before, but like, I don't know, man. The 2000s was such a weird time though, because when you're a kid, I was like, 5 to
Yeah.
7, I would say. And like, Michael Myers as a character and Halloween as a franchise was new to me. So everything was so exciting. Learning new stuff about the character, learning new stuff about the movies, watching the Halloween sequels that I haven't seen yet was like very exciting. And I remember that stuff clear as day. I remember when Blockbuster was closing and they were selling off their DVDs and stuff. It was the tail end of Blockbuster basically for my area because they were going away slowly. I know like the last one, there's actually still one around, I think, but like a lot of the stores lasted to like, I don't know, like 2011 or something or 2012. Like
Yeah.
they hung in for a little bit, but mine closed early. And I remember going there and they had the Halloween 5 DVD. At this point, I wasn't collecting horror movies. I was a horror fan, but I didn't own them yet. Like I'd watch FearFest because that was like my addiction was FearFest. That's what got me into it. And everybody knows that. And I went to Blockbuster and they had the Halloween 5 DVD and they were selling it for like, I think it was like $3 or $4. It was super cheap. And I remember like, I was telling my mom, I was like, I gotta have this. Like, it's Michael Myers, it's Halloween. I didn't care which one it was, it was a Halloween movie. I was like, I gotta have this. And I took the DVD home and I think
Yeah.
that's really what got me into collecting, honestly, was that Halloween 5 DVD. I mean, I owned movies before that weren't horror. So, like, I was already somewhat buying physical media. But I think when I got that Halloween 5 DVD, that's what made me want to collect horror movies because I brought that home And like for some reason, I thought that was like the coolest thing ever, owning a Halloween movie, like seeing Michael on the case. Basically the post. It was the Divimax DVD. Where it's like tinted in like orange or like
I know.
tannish. Yeah. And I just
I
thought
know
that was
that
the
one.
coolest thing ever. And it had the chapter insert and everything. And I put the movie in. And by this point, I seen Halloween 5 not very much at all, maybe once or twice. I really don't know. And for some weird reason, I watched the DVD. And after the movie was over, it bothered me and I was creeped out. And I still cannot figure out why. I don't know what it was. It was that whole scene of, when Michael's in the woods and Loomis is telling him to go home, Michael. I don't know what that was. Something about that scene actually kind of freaked me out as a kid. And I mean, I guess I could see why looking back on it, because of the whole atmosphere of that scene. Michael's in the woods, you got the fog. I mean, and you could see him standing out there. If you look close enough, especially with the 4K versions now, you could see Michael standing out in the woods. And that's creepy. I don't know if I noticed that when I was younger or not, but something about that got under my skin. But in the 2000s was so fun. Watching Halloween on FearFest and the movies being new to you is exciting, because you never get that back. Once you see the movies, that's it. It's done. They're not new anymore. And I don't know, it's super exciting. And then owning the DVD, it was just great. Like the 2000s was great for me.
I remember even on different formats, you can see Michael Myers out there, in that scene with the fog. I remember I was like, you can definitely see him, like he's creeping up. But yeah, that is a great scene too. I like it. It's creepy.
Yeah, it is. It definitely got under my skin.
Halloween 5, I do remember seeing a lot on Monster Fest, FearFest. I actually think that was the first time I watched it, from start to finish, was that year, like 2005 or 4. And I remember the promos for FearFest was great too. Now FearFest don't have those kind of promos.
No.
Like there's stuff that would stick in your memory. Now, no, because they got lazy with it, I think.
They got super lazy.
But back then, it would make something, like I remember that Halloween 4 or Halloween 5 jingle when they did the double feature for both of those.
I think everybody remembers that. You can't stop a killer in a William Shatner mask or whatever.
Michael is coming to kill half of Illinois. Hit him with a Chevy, hit him with a blast. You can't stop the psycho in the William Shatner mask. If you roll in the hay, you're dead, we guarantee. 'Cause Michael Myers is coming to AMC.
Bro, that was amazing, bro. It was so cool. I remember that vividly, bro. That was amazing. Now we just get up next, Halloween 4, the return of Michael Myers. There's like nothing special anymore. Back then, it was like so exciting. You were like, Halloween 4 and 5, I got to be home for that.
Yeah, and it'd be like 9 o'clock when it comes on, or 10.
Yeah.
It's no more excitement with it. That's why even if I don't have cable no more, but if I did, I probably wouldn't watch that anymore. I just put it in my DVDs and VHS and Blu-rays that I got of the movies.
See, I'm the same way, but last year we ended up getting AMC Plus, the streaming service, and I was like, well, now that I have AMC Plus, I'm gonna pop on FearFest. It's not that of course I watch the movies just because I love FearFest no matter what, but I kind of just had it on as background noise because that excitement is gone. But I don't know. It was cool watching it again. But yeah, FearFest back in the days was like an event. Like I feel like everybody was gathered at their TVs watching it.
Especially when you're like 8 and 9 and 10 years old.
Yeah.
Definitely would have that was your Halloween, really. That was your October. And back then it was only 2 weeks. Now I think it's a whole month full of horror movies.
It is, yeah. Yeah, it was 2 weeks back in the days, bro.
We had 2 weeks, and it was all Halloween pretty much. It was, it was other movies, but Halloween was definitely the franchise that they played over and over. Like they outdone it.
It still is. No, it still is like that. Like, like you said,
get why.
Yeah, back when it was 2 weeks, that like you said, that was like that was my October, bro. That was like the event. Like October 1st would hit, and I'd be like, I can't wait for the FearFest marathon because that was like everything. Like, of course, as a kid, trick or treating's fun, getting candy's fun. I love that stuff. But man, Halloween night was never better than watching FearFest because you go out, you get candy, you get a dress up, and you come home and literally Michael Myers is on TV because they still do that to this day. They show Halloween on Halloween Eve and Halloween Day. And now that it's on all month, they still show that franchise more than any. They show they have a Halloween marathon like every week in October. Still.
Yep, I mean it's the big the thing always has been for like 20 plus years
Yeah,
that
it's
FearFest
amazing.
has been running on AMC. Like I
Yeah.
mean, I remember watching movies like Children of the Corn on there, Pet
Hell yeah.
Cemetery, some Nightmare on Elm Street movies, but not all of them because I don't remember them ever showing like Freddy's Revenge or anything like that. I seen like the original and Dream Warriors on there,
Yeah.
but and then more Stephen King's like Graveyard Shift and It 1990 sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
But it
that's
was always fun. Like for a
yeah.
horror fan,
Always.
if you didn't have those movies, you better watch it on cable.
Exactly. And that's what it was for me as a kid. It's not that like my mom wouldn't let me have the movies because she really didn't care. Even when I was younger, I brought the Halloween movies on DVD and stuff and the Elm
Yeah.
Street movies. And it's not that she cared. It was just the fact that for some reason, I just never saw after those movies. Like when FearFest would come on, it was a huge event for me, for real. Like I was like, oh man, FearFest is like a week away. It was like crazy. It was like, people get excited for like pay-per-views, like boxing
Yeah.
matches, wrestling, whatever it is, man. For me, it was FearFest. It was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be literally drowning in in horror movies for 2 weeks. Like it's so fun, man. And it's nonstop either. You could leave it on 24/7, wake
Yeah.
up in the middle of the night and a horror movie would be on. And being introduced to horror movies that you've never seen is like the best thing ever. Even as an adult, when I watch horror movies that I haven't seen, I'm like, this is fun. I love watching things that I haven't seen. But as a kid, especially being introduced to a lot of the iconic classic movies that we all know, that was
Yeah.
like the best feeling in the world, dude. I remember the first like image I seen of the Friday the 13th franchise, and it was in Friday the 13th Part 5, where you see Tommy's seeing Roy outside. Well, not was it Roy or actually Jason? I think it was Roy. It was a dream. I think it was, I don't know. I'll throw it up on the
Yeah.
screen. But that was the first image I seen of like a Friday the 13th movie, and it stuck with me. And I know that's the first thing I ever saw.
I know the scene you're talking about. That's
Looking out
actually
the window.
hallucination, right? And
Yeah,
you
like a
think it's
dream
Jason,
hallucination.
which,
Yeah.
which it is like the quote Jason because the
Yeah,
different
Jason.
mask. It ain't the blue shards. It's the
Yeah.
regular hockey mask, but it ain't. He's not even there because he's imagining it.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially like at the end of part 5 as well. You see with the red again with the X marking the head. But yeah, they were always fun. Like even in
Yeah.
Friday the 13th, they show a little bit of them. I don't remember like watching a whole bunch of them. I think the original might have came on and maybe a couple of the sequels, but I don't remember like Jason Goes to Hell or any of the ones past then.
Yeah, exactly. Well, all right. So this is what we're here for, and I think a lot of people noticed this from the thumbnail, man. We're 13 minutes in, we even talked about this, and this is going to be a long conversation. This is where the podcast is going to hit home for me, for real, and that is the Halloween Flash website. How many people remember the Halloween Flash website? You guys have to let us know in the comment section down below, because I want to bring this back into the community. I know there's a lot of Halloween fans out there that know what this is, but this site has been dead for so long that nobody even really talks about it. And I had to talk about it because I have such a great story with this website, dude. And it's incredible. I want people to talk
Yeah.
about this again. I hope that this podcast will shed some light back onto that website, because I had some amazing memories with that website. And of course, Horrorman93 has had his memories with this website. And with that being said, tell us your memories with the Halloween Flash website.
So it was like I think in 2005 or 6, right? And I was in 6th grade. And I
Yeah.
was in this computer class, and I don't know if I stumbled across the website or some other student might have, typed it in. But I remember them getting on this Halloween Flash website, and the first thing I remember is Michael Myers walking towards like the screen with the
Yeah.
music playing in the background. And that stuck in my memory ever since I seen that. And I always thought that was really cool because there wasn't really no other. I mean, there was Michael Myers websites, but that was the most unique one because there was no other Flash site that I
Yeah,
can
for
recall
sure.
for horror. Like I didn't know there wasn't one for Chucky or Freddy or Jason, It was
No.
for Michael though. And when you got on that site, the sounds that it would play the themes from each movie. I remember seeing
Yeah.
like, on the site they had Halloween 1 through 9, which 9 didn't exist yet, and nobody knew
Yeah.
what 9 was going to be. So it stayed on the site, and now I looked the site up. You can't get on it, but there's this website called
No.
archive.org where you
Yeah.
can go onto these old websites from the 90s or 2000s
Yep.
that does no longer exist today, but somebody brought this website back, and now you can actually play that little animation clip of Michael Myers walking
Yeah.
towards the screen on a computer or your phone. I don't know if you can do it on a computer, but my phone played it. And
Yeah.
when I saw that, it was 19 years ago.
Yeah. It's crazy,
That's how
dude.
long it's been. When I saw it, it was like it was like it never left my memory. It was just like yesterday that I'd seen it. And then when I got more into the site, I went through all the movies
Yeah.
and I seen every individual like screen because they got every individual for every movie from up to that point, anyways. And I remember getting the most ones I got on was like the original, and then Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers. And the Curse of Michael Myers animation is really cool because there's an animation where John Strode in the movie is chopping down that sign with the Michael
Yeah.
Myers mask on it,
1,
and it says he's
2,
coming on the sign.
10.
And when he says
Yeah.
enough of this Michael Myers bullshit,
Yeah.
it says that on that animation clip, and I was playing that over and over because
What happened?
but
Oh, you faded
but
out.
I said that it was always funny that line that he says in Halloween: Curse of Michael Myers, enough of this Michael Myers bullshit, and it cuts down
Yeah.
the sign.
Yeah, it is.
But I got on the site last night and I was surprised that it even worked. Like seeing that brought back a lot of memories from when I was in middle school.
Yeah.
I remember there was that site, and which there's another site, HalloweenMovies.com,
And
which
it's still there.
is still around. Yeah, because I remember getting on that in like 2002 and 3.
Yeah.
So that's been over 20 years that's been. But I think the Flash site was the most entertaining site to get on for Michael
Oh,
Myers.
yeah, definitely, dude.
I mean, it wasn't a site like it's so detailed. Like you can like choose
No,
from like
it's very
clips, the
simple.
trailers. Yeah, it's a very simple design to the site. And I remember last night I was looking at like Halloween fan art from 20 years ago, Halloween merchandise from 20 years ago.
Yeah, dude. I
And,
was looking at
and
that today
I,
when you sent me that, dude. I was looking at all that stuff because it's just cool to go back and like look
yeah,
at the prices on things too, bro. They had like the Halloween posters for like $8.99. The DVDs were like different
yep,
prices. And it was cool. They had the advertisement
$13,
for the
$14.
they had the advertisement for the 25th anniversary DVD, and it was like $21.99. They were selling like this bobblehead and stuff. Like it was so cool to look at that
Yep,
because, man, I'll tell you what, that site, even to this day, going back onto the archive thing and looking back on it, is still probably the coolest site I've ever been on, man. Like it blows me away that you can
definitely.
still look at it even though it's not around. So at least there's something of it still around. But with us doing this
Yep.
podcast, I love the fact that we're bringing this back into the community because people are going to hear this and be like, holy crap, I remember this website. Like it's going to bring back memories for people.
I feel like if the person is, been a veteran fan of the franchise, they may have a chance to remember that. But
Yeah,
if
for
you're like
sure.
a newer fan, you probably have no clue what you're talking about. You had to be like late 90s, early 90s, maybe to like even have an opportunity to get on that website.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
having archive.com or .org, now you can actually revisit it, and now the animations work. Last year, you tried to get on it and it didn't
yeah,
work.
yeah. Yeah, I was gonna tell them that
Somebody,
story too.
somebody said,
Last year we was talking about it. We was talking about the Flash site, and I said, "Well, I'm gonna see if it's still around." No, it wasn't that. No, let me start over. So I think it was like 5 years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I actually tried to find it on my
yeah,
own. I was like curious about it, and of course I didn't find it. So I was like really bummed out. Like I knew it was gone, but I wasn't like for sure. I thought maybe it came back at some point. I didn't know. So I checked, and of course it was gone. And then I don't know if you told me
yeah,
about the archive.org thing or whatever, but I got on that and pulled up the website. And of course, we seen it, but back then the animations didn't work. There was no flash, it just didn't. It was just a regular website, so it kind of took away the greatness of that website, I guess.
yeah.
And I was actually surprised at work. You sent me a video of it last night, and I was like, "Wait a minute, how did he get this?" And then I went on there. I was like, "Wow, it's actually working now." So it's cool that like even though the site doesn't exist, you can technically still visit it. So if you are like a younger fan of the Halloween franchise, just go to what is it? Archive website archive.org or something like
.org.
that. Yeah, just go to that. Actually, I'll link it in the description. You guys can check it out.
Yeah.
And just look at that website. Like I know we have the halloweenmovies.com website, which to me is boring. It's just a regular website. The Halloween Flash website was simple but so incredible. My mind was freaking blown when I first showed that. You want me to tell my story now?
Yes.
All right. So this is where it hits home for me. You guys all know. Well, you don't know, I guess. But this is where it hits home for me. I was introduced to the Halloween Flash website by my dad. We went over to my dad's sister's house, which is where he was living at the time. And for some reason, I started talking to him about Michael Myers. And I didn't realize at that time that my father was a big Michael Myers fan. So we were talking about that for a second. And he was like, "Hey, man, have you been on the Michael Myers website?" And I was like, "Wait, Michael Myers website?" I was like, "No, I haven't." Because for one, I didn't own a computer at the time. I was super young. My mom didn't own a computer at the time. So the only way I could get on the computer was like from the library or school. So I was like, "No, I
Yep.
haven't been on no Halloween website." So we went upstairs. I don't know why I remember this so clearly. We went upstairs to, I don't know if it was his room, his sister's room. I don't know whose room it was, but they had this big computer up there. You know, they were still pretty chunky computers back then. And so we went up there, and my brother went up there with us. And my brother, he's autistic, so you know he was younger at the time too, and you know he was kind of scared of Michael Myers, which is understandable. And my dad got on the website, and I remember that video playing that you was talking about, the animation. You hear the theme in the background, and I remember my dad saying to my brother, "You know, you can go downstairs if you want, because I know this freaks you out a little bit." I don't know why I remember this so clearly. And me and my dad went through that website. We watched the animation. And as soon as he clicked enter and entered the website right after the animation, I was immediately blown away. I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I think it sparked my love for Michael even more. I was a big Myers fan at this point, but like something about that website triggered me to just become obsessed with Michael Myers. Like I remember the website told you when the movies were going to be on TV and what time, you know, the merchandise. You could even talk to people on there. I'm pretty sure there was some sort of message board or something. It was amazing. And my dad was showing me all these things. He was playing the music from the movies, and you could read up on Michael Myers. It had updates and like all kinds of crap on it. And I think that was the point where I really fell in love with that character. And I remember me and my dad were on the website. If I had to guess, I don't know for sure because this was so long ago, we were probably on that website for 20 to 30 minutes, like no joke. And what happened was after we got off the website, I remember I visited my dad that day for, I don't know, maybe 3-4 hours at the most. And I remember after we got off that website, I couldn't stop thinking about it. So I kept talking to him about Michael Myers. And I was there for another, if I had to guess, it had to be at least a couple of hours after we got off the website. And me and him were talking about Michael Myers the entire time I was there. Like, obviously, the character isn't real, but we were talking about what if Michael was real? How would he get away with this? And we were just talking about everything Michael Myers. And I think that's really where my obsession started. And then I remember after that, I don't know if it was at school or at the library, I revisited that website, and I was just, every time I had a computer, I wanted to get on the Halloween Flash website. I was so obsessed with it, and that has to be what sparked my love for it, because I never, you know what, I've never seen a website like that then, and I still haven't seen one like that now. That's the best website I've ever seen to this day. Still my favorite website. I love the Flash website, and it's sad that it's not like a real thing anymore. It's cool that you can revisit it with the archive crap, but like, man, like that charm is gone. Like, I feel bad for the younger horror fans, not because of like things aren't good anymore. I love that there's still younger fans becoming horror fans, obviously Halloween fans, whatever, but it's like they don't get to experience these like really weird websites. I mean, it's a simple website. There's not a lot to it, but like the impact that it had on me and you and other Halloween fans is actually crazy. Like, it was so simple. There's nothing to that website. There literally, if you get on there right now, you're going to be like, what is special about this? A lot of younger fans probably won't understand it, but like back then, to me, that was like the coolest thing I ever seen. I was like, I was blown away. I was like, I could be on this website all day. I could watch the opening animated video like 100 times. Like, that's how much I love that website, dude. But that's pretty much my story, and I think that's really what started my obsession with the character, if you want me to be honest, and of course FearFest.
It's a really like, I mean, there was no other website like that. It was like cool. Like whoever
Yeah.
designed that website did a good job with the animation with Michael Myers, because like when you get on the site, it's like, oh shit, he's coming after me. Like he's
Yeah.
coming right through your screen.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I wish they would have did that with Freddy and Jason and Chucky and all the other ones, but only Michael they did it with.
Yeah,
But
man.
yeah, that website. I wish whoever was running it didn't let it, go down like whatever they did with it, or they sold it off, or they just completely
I
shut
I
it
think they
down. I wish
I
it was
think they
still
just
around.
I think they just let it go, because from what I know, I was reading up on it. I don't know if it was on Reddit or some website, and there was people talking about, people know what the Flash website is. And they were saying how, like,
Yeah.
the last few years of that website, the people were really letting the website just go downhill. So I think at some point they just ended up closing it, which is so sad. Like, and by the way, if the creators of that website are listening to this for whatever reason, or if somebody knows who made it that's listening to this, like, please bring that website back. Like, reinvent it, do something, because I think it would be so cool if we had like a modern day Halloween Flash website. Because I would love to see what they would do with it. Well, actually, Flash isn't even a thing anymore, is it?
Yeah, no, I think Adobe Flash Player doesn't even exist anymore.
See, that sucks. Well, I
But
wish they would come
I
back and
mean,
like
they
do
got this other
something.
thing that could play it.
Yeah, do some sort of just
They got other
video
programs that
style
can run
stuff.
that.
Yeah, do something, because man, that website just, I don't know, man. I never forgot that website, and I never forgot that story. I've never been like super close with my father, but that story right there, I will remember for the rest of my life, because that website blew me away, bro. And then we talked about Halloween for hours, man. It's fun, and even it's crazy how here I am almost 20 years later. That website's been gone for almost 20 years. And it's like,
Yeah.
I still love this character in the franchise. It's just crazy how this character and the movies have just stayed with me, and I still love them. But man, back then when that stuff was new and fresh, you cannot experience that again. And I would never trade that feeling, man. Watching those movies for the first time was like crazy to me. And of course, I can't do that anymore until we get new
Definitely.
content. But even as an adult, it's not the same. You know what I mean? When you're young and you're watching this stuff, and
Yeah.
your father's talking about it, or your mom, or your grandparents, or your brother, sister, like when it's all fresh, it's so fun. So, like, if you're a young fan of horror, enjoy it while you can, because once you get older, I mean, you're still gonna love horror, but you're never gonna have that experience again.
Yeah, that reminds me of when Halloween Resurrection came out. I wanted to see that. So it
Yeah,
just show you that even though that's a bad movie, but I was so excited to see that movie. And I
yeah.
wanted to watch that so bad. But you watch it now? No, I don't want to watch it now.
Yeah, exactly, dude. But that's my story with the Flash website. I don't have much more to say about it. I will link the archive thing in the description. So if you guys are Halloween fans and you don't know much about it, and we interest you in checking it out, do it, because it's so cool. It's not the same experience, but at least go look at it if you're a Halloween fan. That's really all I have to say about it. But Horrorman93, thanks for hopping on the podcast. I know this is the third episode you've been in. Follow him on Instagram. I will have that in the description as well. Follow him on Threads, all that good stuff. But yeah, I had to talk about the Flesh. What the heck? The Flesh website? No, the Flash website. Because man, it was just an experience, and I'll never forget it.
I spent 2 hours on that website last night just going through it because I
Dude, I
missed
was
it so
going through
much.
it
When I
today.
find out that it worked,
Yeah.
I went through every single thing. I think Halloween 3 was the only one that I couldn't get through though.
Yeah,
It said that
exactly.
something, it was blocked or something, so I didn't. And some of the others, some of the other content you can't even access anymore. Like I was
Yeah, it's
trying to
just
watch a
gone.
clip from Halloween 5, and I try to play it, it won't load. So it's not. I would say it's like 70% of a website really, because it don't always
Well,
work.
I mean, technically the
With
thing is,
everything.
well, technically, like I said, it's a dead website. That website's done. That's just something to go
Yeah,
back and like look. Like you can just look at it. Like obviously the merchandise on there, you guys can't order that stuff. I mean that's over with. But like
yeah,
just
definitely.
going on there and looking at it is cool. So if you guys are if you guys are a fan of the Halloween franchise and Michael Myers, check it out. Like seriously, you won't regret it. It was so cool. But I mean, you would maybe get at least some sort of a cool feeling out of checking out the animations and stuff. It was even cool seeing like when the movies were going to come on TV. Yep. Like for some reason, I just think that was so cool, you know. But yeah, check it out. Like I said, it's linked in the description down below. If you guys did enjoy this podcast, please leave a like and subscribe. I would definitely appreciate that, and I will hear from you guys very soon.